I'm pleased to have here on the Rich Eisen Show. My wife had him on. Susie had him on when I was out of the chair. And I got jealous. Let's be honest, because, you know, I know my wife covered Steve Sarkisian back in the day when he was on the Pete Carroll staff. And I think she might be jealous right now that I have you on, Coach. There's enough of you to be shared but for the entire Eisen family, correct, Coach?
Yeah, exactly.
There's enough of you to go around. Thanks for calling in, Coach. I appreciate it. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing, Rich?
I'm doing well. So Leonard Williams, what's his mindset right now? This kid is hearing, I'm sure, all sorts of stuff right now about where he might be drafted in 6 days from now. What are you hearing?
You know what? I think the biggest thing for Leonard and for all these guys is control what you can control. And Leonard's in a great frame of mind. He's done everything he can do. He's played really good football. He's prepared himself for the combine. He's done really well in interviews. He's done a great job at Pro Day. He's done really good on his team visits. At this point, it's kind of like relax and enjoy the experience. You know, I mean, this is once in a lifetime, and so I think that's what Leonard's doing right now, and I think at the end of the day, wherever he goes, somebody's going to get a special player.
What would you say to Lovie Smith if he's on the fence right now about making him the #1 overall pick in the draft? Let me be a fly on that wall, Coach Sarkisian.
Well, I think you're getting a complete player. I think you're getting a guy that can play the 3 technique and Lovie system, a guy that can be tremendous against the run. Fantastic pass rusher from the interior side of the defense. Guy who loves football. You know, but the end, you know, when it's all said and done, it's what fits Lovie, you know, and what fits their team and what they're looking for and all those things. So for me, I just want Leonard to go to a place that is good for him. That he's comfortable in the situation, whether it's the organization, the city, that he's gonna thrive in, and it's gonna be hard not to for Leonard. He's an unbelievable guy. He's a great personality about him. He loves the game of football, but I think whoever gets him is getting a complete football player.
Steve Sarkisian, USC head coach, joining me here. And when you were on with Susie a couple of months ago, I heard in that interview that Leonard Williams does not own a car. You told her that he gets around campus on a skateboard. Is that still the case, Coach?
He didn't. Not only does not own a car, he doesn't have a driver's license.
Really?
Yeah.
So how does he get on a plane?
He has an ID, but he really is a simple guy. He's almost like a throwback. It's funny, and you know that when you think about him, that he's that simple. Football is that important.
But so is getting around, Coach. Right? So is getting from point A to point B.
Well, we got Uber. I mean, we got all sorts of things now to get us around. But the guy is he's a simple guy. He loves the game of football. When it's time to go, it's time to go. You know, that's what I love about him. Quite honestly, in this day and age of all the stuff that's going on in social media and you know, all the things that are happening, here's a really simple guy that's a great player that loves the game of football. And the end result is he's getting what he deserves, and that's the recognition that he is the player that he is, and ultimately he's going to end up being a top high-level draft pick for the NFL, which, hey, man, I mean, that's why we do what we do.
USC head coach Steve Sarkisian joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. Nelson Agholor, there's been some comparisons to Jeremy Maclin in his stature and his game. Would you agree with that? And if not, who would his comp be in your mind at the NFL level?
You know, I don't know Jeremy great, quite honestly. I have to be honest with you. I don't want to speak out of turn here.
Sure.
About what guys are capable of or not. But what I do know about Nelson is he's got a very high football IQ. We used him in a variety of different positions and situations, whether it was in the slot, at the wide receiver position, out of the backfield. And Nelson produced. You know, he got it. He understood it. He the game comes to him very easily because his football IQ is very high. Put with that his competitiveness, which is ultra competitive. I just think the guy that has a chance to be something really uniquely special at the next level. He's an unbelievable punt returner. I think he had 4 career punt returns for touchdowns here at SC, which is a school record for a guy that left early. It was that's phenomenal. So excited for Nelson and the prospects of whoever decides to take him. We'll see what happens when that happens.
Was that Lovie Smith trying to FaceTime you, Coach? Was that him trying to FaceTime you to talk about?
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it was.
Okay, see, I've got a sixth sense for that sort of thing. Steve Sarkisian joining me here right now. You're a colleague across town. Jim Mora came on this show a couple months ago, Coach, and said that if he was Tampa, he would write down Marcus Mariota's name on the card and hand it in right then and there. And that was back in late December. What do you think about Mariota's NFL readiness heading into this draft, having seen him up close and personal?
I didn't see Marcus this year. We didn't see him this year. I obviously saw him early in his career. Mm-hmm. I think what is unique, and I think what's funny to me, and Rich, I'm going to go on a tangent here.
Go for it.
Hold on, so just get ready for me here. Okay?
My belt is buckled.
Okay. I watch the New England Patriots. I watch the Green Bay Packers. I watch the Seattle Seahawks. And I see these guys in the shotgun 75% of the time. I see their quarterbacks back there in the gun, change of protections, doing their thing, shotgun running game, all the stuff they do. And then I turn on the NFL Combine, which I love, and I love to watch you run your 40 in your suit, believe me, and you get slower every year. It's just great, and it's awesome. But they put these kids under center for 3 hours straight. And is that why we're drafting them? And we're complaining about, are we developing college quarterbacks? Are we developing NFL quarterbacks to be prepared to play in the NFL? Well, developing for what? The best teams in the league are in shotgun 75% of the time, but yet we send them to the combine and we put them under center and make them drop from under center the entire time. And then they go to their pro day and they feel like they have something to prove, and Marcus Mariota's in the huddle, and he's breaking the huddle, and there's guys, it's slow, the tempo's slow, and I'm like, this isn't who he is. If you're going to draft Marcus Mariota, you're going to draft a guy who's going to be in the gun, who's going to utilize his legs, who can throw the ball really accurately, who's a great competitor, who's a really good winner, and he's a pain in the butt to defend. Mm-hmm. But that's what you got to want to do with him. I don't want to turn on the first preseason game, whoever drafts Marcus Mariota, and he's under center in a 2 tight end formation and drop him back to pass. That's not who he is. No offense to Marcus, I'm not knocking him here anyway. Mm-hmm. But it kind of happened with Johnny Manziel last year. The first time he went in with the Cleveland Browns, he got under center. The guy didn't get under center a snap at Texas A&M. So what are we drafting? What are you looking for? What are we trying to get accomplished? And I think that's the part that is the most important. And Jim had a great quarterback in Brett Hundley. We've had a bunch of great guys here in our conference. It's more of a matter of drafting what you want to be and not trying to force this kid into being something that maybe he wasn't developed to be. And the league, in my opinion, is going to change at some point because these kids are developing differently than they were 15, 20 years ago. They're developing in the gun. They are gun-oriented kids that have been doing it since the 7th, 8th grade, that we are recruiting that way. Ultimately, we take them on that way. We get them 20 hours a week, which is not much when you start adding up film room and all that. So I think the NFL is going to have to make that transition to say, okay, the best teams in the league are doing it this way. They're playing to the strengths of the guys that they have. So when we draft these guys, let's start playing to their strengths.
It sounds like you've unburdened yourself, Coach. Do you feel better?
I feel better.
Okay, good.
I have to admit, I feel better.
Good, terrific.
It just bothered me. It bothered me. I sat here and we didn't have a kid there, and I watched all these guys get under center, and I love Mike Mayock,
Yes,
and I love
you.
all these guys.
Good.
I mean, believe me, you guys do a fantastic job.
Thanks, Coach.
Covering the combine and covering the draft. And we're critiquing these guys' drops from under center.
I hear you.
But
I know.
how much are we really doing it? How much are they really doing it? How many times did Tom Brady put his hands under, I don't even know who the center is at New England, and drop back to pass?
I hear you. Listen, Coach, I'm being told that there's a radio break that's coming that I have to get to. So I have to say thank you for calling in, and I'm glad that I helped you get that off your chest.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Rich.
You bet. Thanks for calling in.
All right, guys. See you.
You bet. That's Coach Steve Sarkisian.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.